Her stomach growled with hunger, her clothes torn and feet blistered from walking the streets. No one saw her, no one cared. She was just another poor girl the world had forgotten. Until a trembling voice broke through the noise. "Please, could you help me? I can't find my way home." It was a blind young woman, lost and afraid. Despite her own pain, the poor girl reached out and guided her step by step, never knowing where the road would lead. Her path ended at the towering gates of a mansion, the home of one of the world's wealthiest billionaires. But what happened after they stepped inside? No one could have imagined. This is the story of a girl who had nothing, a daughter searching for light, and a twist that changed everything. And today it is being retold by me. Hello family, welcome back. Before we begin, I have a small but heartfelt request. Please, subscribe. Your support is what keeps these stories alive. Every time you click that button, you're helping us share voices that would otherwise be forgotten and stories that deserve to be heard. And in the comments, tell us where you're watching from, because together we are not just telling stories, we are keeping hope alive. The night air was cold, but her hunger burned hotter than the chill. Emily Carter clutched her thin sweater tighter around her bony frame as she shuffled down the street. Her shoes were worn to threads, the soles peeling, and every step stung her blistered feet. Her stomach growled so loudly she pressed her hand over it, as though she could quiet the ache. People passed by her, some in shiny cars, some in designer coats, but none even turned their heads. To them, she was invisible, just another poor girl life had chewed up and left behind. She whispered under her breath, almost to herself, "How much longer can I keep walking like this?" But giving up wasn't an option. She had nowhere else to go. Since her mother's death 2 years ago, Emily had been completely alone. Her father? Gone. He had chosen another family long ago. She was nobody's child now. Then it happened. A trembling voice cut through the honking traffic and the noise of the city. "Please? Could you help me? I can't find my way home." Emily stopped dead. Her tired eyes searched the street until she spotted her. A young woman in a pale dress, her hands stretched out uncertainly, a white cane dangling uselessly from her wrist. She looked lost, frightened. Emily's heart twisted. She had so little left to give, but she knew that fear. "Are you all right?" Emily asked softly, stepping closer. The young woman flinched at the sudden voice. "Who's there?" "Just me," Emily answered, raising her empty hands as though to prove she meant no harm. "I'm Emily. I won't hurt you." The girl's face turned toward the sound of Emily's voice, her pale blue eyes cloudy. Emily realized. Instantly she was blind. Tears shimmered on the girl's lashes. "My driver. He left me here after an argument. I don't even know where I am. Can you please help me find the Walker Mansion?" Emily blinked in surprise. The Walker Mansion? Even someone like her had heard of it. The home of billionaire Richard Walker, a fortress of untouchable wealth. Emily hesitated. What if this was a trap? But no. The girl's shaking hands, the desperation in her voice, it was real. "Don't worry," Emily said gently. "I'll take you there, step by step. I won't leave you." The girl's lips trembled into a faint smile. "Thank you. My name is Sophia. Sophia Walker." Emily froze for a second. Walker. She was guiding a billionaire's daughter. Still, she pushed the thought aside and held out her hand. "Come on, Sophia. Hold on to me." Sophia's fingers were soft but trembling as they slipped into Emily's rough palm. For the first time that day, Emily felt a strange warmth. Two strangers, bound by weakness, leaning on each other. They walked slowly, Emily guiding Sophia around potholes and curbs, warning her before every step. "Watch out here. There's a bump in the road," Emily murmured. Sophia nodded, clutching her arm. "You're very careful." "Thank you." Emily gave a weak laugh. "Careful's all I know how to be. Life hasn't left me much choice." "What do you mean?" Sophia asked softly. Emily hesitated. She never told her story to anyone. Why would she? No one cared. But something in Sophia's gentle tone disarmed her. My mom died 2 years ago, Emily admitted. Since then, I've had no one. My dad left when I was little. He started another family, forgot about us. I've been on my own ever since. Sophia squeezed her arm gently. I'm sorry. That must be so lonely. Emily's throat tightened. No one had said those words to her in so long. But before she could reply, Sophia sighed and whispered, I know how it feels. People think money means happiness, but sometimes it just means people use you. They smile when the world is watching, but when the doors close, her voice broke. You're nothing but a burden. Emily glanced at her, surprised. A billionaire's daughter talking like that? But the pain in Sophia's voice was too real to doubt. For a long stretch, they walked in silence, bound by unspoken understanding. At last, towering iron gates loomed ahead. Even in the dim light, the Walker mansion looked unreal. Its vast stone walls rising like a castle, golden lights glowing from endless windows. Emily stopped in her tracks, staring. She had never seen anything like it. This is it? Sophia whispered, relief flooding her voice. We made it. Emily swallowed hard. She wanted to turn and leave. A place like this wasn't meant for someone like her. But before she could slip away, the gates creaked open and a sharp voice cut through the night. Miss Sophia, where on earth have you been? A tall woman in a glittering gown swept down the steps, her heels clicking sharply. Beside her, 2 uniformed guards glared at Emily. Sophia squeezed Emily's hand. This is my friend, Mother. She helped me get home. The woman's painted lips curled in disdain. Friend? This filthy girl. She looked Emily up and down, her eyes sharp as knives. She doesn't belong here. Emily's chest tightened, heat rushing to her face. She wanted to disappear, but Sophia lifted her chin. I said she's my friend, and she comes inside. The guards exchanged uneasy glances. The woman's jaw clenched. Emily could feel every eye on her, judging, mocking, dismissing. She was a beggar standing at the gates of a palace. Still she stayed. For the first time in her life, someone had called her a friend. And she wasn't ready to let go. The guard stepped forward, waiting for an order. The tall woman's eyes, cold and sharp, never left Emily. Mother, Sophia repeated firmly. She's with me. She's my friend. If she's not allowed in, then I'm not going in either. The woman froze, her painted smile twitching. Behind her, the servants shifted uncomfortably. It was rare to hear Sophia speak with such defiance. Finally, the woman sighed heavily, her voice sweet but laced with venom. Very well, darling, if that's what you want. But don't say I didn't warn you. Her eyes flicked back to Emily like daggers. Come in then, beggar girl. Let's see how long you last. Sophia held on to Emily's arm as they stepped through the enormous gates. Emily felt the weight of every gaze. Servants whispering, guards sneering, the tall woman's heels clicking menacingly. Behind them, the mansion swallowed her whole. Inside, the Walker mansion gleamed like a palace. Chandeliers sparkled above, marble floors shone beneath her feet, and portraits of powerful men and elegant women lined the walls. Emily had never seen so much beauty and wealth gathered in one place. But instead of awe, she felt small. Her torn shoes squeaked against the polished floor. Her faded sweater looked like a rag in a sea of silks. Emily, Sophia whispered, sensing her hesitation. Don't be afraid. You're safe with me. Her words warmed Emily's chest. For 2 years, since her mother's death, no one had stood beside her. Yet this blind girl she just met somehow made her feel seen. The tall woman swept past them, her perfume filling the hall. Sophia, darling, you should be resting. Your condition requires calm, not dragging strangers into our home. Sophia frowned. Mother, I was left stranded. Emily saved me. Shouldn't you be thanking her? The woman stopped, turning slowly, her smile icy. Of course. Thank you. Emily, was it leading my daughter home. But understand this mansion isn't a charity. People like you don't belong here. Emily lowered her gaze. I didn't mean to intrude, ma'am. I was only helping. Nonsense, Sophia interrupted. She stays for dinner. Emily's eyes widened. No, Sophia, I can't. I don't belong here. You do now, Sophia said simply. Her tone left no room for argument. The woman's eyes darkened, but she forced another smile. If that's truly what you want, darling, let her stay. Just for tonight. Her heels clicked away, her words lingering like poison in the air. Emily and Sophia were led into a dining hall so large Emily thought it could swallow her entire neighborhood. A long table stretched out like a runway, golden plates already set. Emily sat stiffly beside Sophia, unsure where to put her hands. Servants appeared with silver trays, placing dishes of steaming food before them, roasted chicken, buttered vegetables, soft bread, and soup so fragrant Emily's stomach twisted with longing. She hadn't eaten a full meal in days. Go ahead, Sophia whispered, nudging her gently. Eat. Emily hesitated, then picked up a spoon. The first bite nearly made her cry. Warmth spread through her empty belly, chasing away the cold that had lived there too long. Sophia smiled faintly. Feels better, doesn't it? Emily nodded quickly. I don't even know how to thank you. You don't have to. You saved me first. For a brief moment, Emily forgot the cold stares of the servants and the poison in Sophia's stepmother's eyes. She leaned closer, whispering, Sophia, why was your driver so cruel? Why would he leave you like that? Sophia lowered her spoon, her voice quiet. Because he works for her. My stepmother, Victoria Walker. Emily glanced around nervously, but Sophia kept speaking. She wants me weak, helpless. My father is too busy, too distant to see it. Everyone listens to her. And me? I'm just the blind daughter no one believes in. Emily's heart squeezed. That's not true. You're stronger than you know. Sophia gave a shaky laugh. Maybe, but strength doesn't mean much when you're locked in a golden cage. Emily swallowed hard. She had spent her life outside, starving in the streets. Sophia had spent hers. Inside, starved of love. Different prisons. Same loneliness. No wonder they had found each other. Suddenly, the heavy doors swung open. A young man strode in, tall, sharp-jawed, dressed in designer clothes. His eyes landed on Emily instantly, narrowing with disgust. Who let her in? He demanded. Sophia tensed. Ethan, don't start. She's my guest. Guest? He scoffed, circling the table like a predator. She looks more like a stray dog you dragged off the street. Emily's face burned, but she stayed silent. Ethan smirked. Careful, Sophia. Not everyone who pretends to help you has good intentions. His gaze slid toward Emily, cold and mocking. Especially not girls like her. Enough, Ethan, Sophia snapped. She's my friend. Show some respect. Emily sat frozen, shame and anger twisting inside her. But beneath it all, one thought pulsed in her chest. If Sophia hadn't spoken up, she would have been thrown out like trash. For the first time in years, someone was standing up for her. The meal ended awkwardly, tension hanging in the air. As servants cleared the dishes, Sophia leaned close and whispered, Don't listen to them, Emily. They don't know you. I do. Emily's throat tightened. She had only known Sophia for a few hours, but she felt a connection. Stronger than any friendship she'd ever had. Something deep, something she couldn't explain. Later that night, when the mansion grew quiet and the servants disappeared, Emily sat alone in the guest room Sophia insisted she stay in. She stared at the silk sheets, the polished mirror, the warm lamp glow. Felt like a dream, but she knew dreams like this never lasted. Somewhere in her chest, a whisper warned her. They will come for you. They won't let you stay. Still, Emily clung to the memory of Sophia's hand gripping hers. Sophia's voice calling her a friend. For the first time since her mother's death 2 years ago, Emily wasn't completely alone. And she didn't know it yet, but this night, this chance meeting would change everything. If you haven't subscribed yet, we'd love for you to join our community by hitting the subscribe button. Through our stories, we build hope and give a future to children and women who have been abused all over the world. Motivate us by subscribing and turning on your notification bell so you never miss a story that matters. Also, let us know in the comments, where are you watching from, and how did this story speak to you? The next morning, sunlight spilled through the high windows of the guest room, waking Emily. She blinked against the brightness, her heart racing as she remembered where she was. The Walker mansion. It hadn't been a dream. She was really here. She touched the soft sheets and whispered to herself, "Don't get used to this, Emily. This isn't your world." Still, a knock on the door startled her. "Emily?" It was Sophia's gentle voice. Emily opened the door to see Sophia standing there with her cane, smiling faintly. "Good morning. Did you sleep well?" Emily nodded awkwardly. "Too well. The bed was so soft I thought I was floating." Sophia chuckled. "Good. You deserve that. Come, walk with me." The two girls strolled through the mansion gardens, Sophia leaning on Emily's arm as they passed. Rows of roses and marble statues. "I've never been out here without someone watching me," Sophia confessed quietly. "Usually my stepmother sends a maid to follow me everywhere. But today I told them I didn't need one. I told them, I have you." Emily's chest warmed at her words. "I'm glad I can help." Sophia tilted her head. "Not just help. You make me feel safe. Like I'm not just some burden everyone has to carry." Emily swallowed hard. No one had ever spoken to her that way. For years, she had been invisible, unwanted. But here, Sophia was letting her in. Over the next week, Emily became Sophia's shadow. She guided her through the halls, read books, aloud to her in the library, and sat by her side when the evenings grew quiet. Sophia began opening her heart piece by piece. "My father, Richard, is never here," she admitted one night as they sat near the grand piano. "He's always traveling, always in meetings. Sometimes I wonder if he even remembers he has a daughter." Emily frowned. "He should. You deserve better." Sophia gave a bitter smile. "Victoria makes sure he doesn't see the truth. To him, she's the perfect wife. To me, she's poison." Emily listened quietly as Sophia's voice trembled. "She locks me away in this mansion. She tells people it's to protect me, but it's not. It's to keep me powerless. She says a blind girl has no place in the world, that no man will ever love me, that I should be grateful she even lets me stay here." Emily's fists clenched. She wanted to scream at the injustice, but she forced her voice calm. "Don't believe her, Sophia. You're worth more than this house, more than her lies." Sophia's cloudy eyes filled with tears. "You really believe that?" "With everything I have," Emily said firmly. And in that moment, Sophia smiled like a child who had found light after years in darkness. But not everyone welcomed Emily's presence. Ethan, Sophia's half-brother, made his dislike obvious. Yet strangely, he changed his approach. Instead of insults, he put on a mask of charm. One afternoon, he cornered Emily in the hallway. "You know, you're not as bad as I first thought," he said smoothly. "Sophia seems happier with you around. Maybe we can be friends." Emily raised an eyebrow, suspicious. "Friends? Of course. This mansion can be lonely. I'm sure you'd prefer an ally instead of enemies." He leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Besides, people like you need protection here." Emily stiffened. His words sounded kind, but his smirk betrayed him. She forced a polite smile and slipped away. Later that evening, she overheard him speaking to a servant. "Keep an eye on that girl. She's after something. I'll make sure father sees her for what she really is, a desperate little gold digger." Emily's blood ran cold. His friendliness was nothing but a trap. The only person who seemed to see her differently was Richard Walker himself. One evening, Emily accidentally bumped into him in the study while carrying books for Sophia. He looked up from his desk, his sharp eyes softening as they fell on her. "You're the girl Sophia keeps talking about," he said slowly. "Yes, sir," Emily murmured nervously. He studied her face for a long moment. "You remind me of someone I once knew." Emily swallowed, unsure what to say. Richard cleared his throat and forced a smile. "Thank you for being there for my daughter. She seems brighter these days." Those simple words felt like a gift. For the first time, Emily felt seen by him, not as an intruder, but as someone who mattered. But across the room, Victoria stood in the shadows, her eyes narrowing. She had seen the way. Richard looked at Emily, and it lit a fire of rage inside her. Days passed, and Emily grew used to the rhythm of the mansion. The polished halls, the watchful servants, the constant feeling of being judged. Yet something still gnawed at her. One evening, while helping Sophia search through old sheet music in a dusty storage room, Emily knocked over a small box. Papers spilled across the floor. She bent to gather them, then froze. It was a photograph, faded but clear enough to recognize. Her mother, younger, smiling, holding two little girls in her arms. Emily's heart stopped. She knew one of those girls. It was herself. And the other, her hand shook as she lifted the photo closer. The other child was Sophia. Emily's breath caught in her throat. Memories rushed back. Blurred images of a grand house, hushed voices, her mother's hurried footsteps in the night. She realized the truth. She and Sophia weren't just friends. They weren't strangers who had crossed paths by chance. They were sisters, two daughters of the same mother. Emily sank to the floor, the photo pressed to her chest. So that's why she had felt such an unexplainable bond with Sophia. That's why guiding her hand had felt so natural, so right. But the truth was painful too. Her mother had left this house, left Richard, and taken Emily, while baby Sophia was left behind. And Victoria must have been the reason. Emily's eyes burned with tears as she whispered, "Sophia, we're family. You're my sister." But she didn't tell Sophia yet. She couldn't. Not without proof. Not while Victoria watched her. Every move waiting for a chance to strike. Emily sat frozen on the floor of the storage room, her fingers trembling around the old photograph. Her mother's face smiled back at her from the faded paper, arms wrapped around two little girls. One girl was her. The other was Sophia. Her heartbeat roared in her ears. Her mother had once lived here. She had once belonged in this mansion. But something had driven her mother away. Something strong enough to rip her from Richard. Walker sighed. To separate Emily and Sophia before they even knew each other. And Emily had no doubt who was behind it. Victoria. She slipped the photograph into her pocket just as Sophia's cane tapped against the doorframe. "Emily? Are you all right? You've been quiet." Emily forced her voice steady. "I'm fine. Just dusty in here." Sophia stepped into the room, her hand brushing Emily's shoulder. "You sound strange. Did something happen?" Emily bit her lip. She wanted to blurt out the truth, to tell Sophia everything. But fear stopped her. What if she was wrong? What if Sophia didn't believe her? "Nothing," Emily whispered, guiding Sophia out of the room. "Let's go back." But her mind was already made up. She would find proof. She would uncover the truth of why their mother left. That night at dinner, the tension in the mansion thickened. Richard sat at the head of the long table, distracted by documents. Sophia sat quietly beside Emily. Across from them, Victoria and Ethan watched like hawks. "Emily," Victoria said suddenly, her voice sweet but sharp, "tell me, where are you from again?" Emily's spoon clattered against her plate. I grew up with my mother. In the city." "Ah yes," Victoria said, tilting her head. "A single mother, wasn't it? Quite a burden raising a child alone." Emily's jaw tightened. "She wasn't a burden. She was my everything." Victoria's smile didn't falter. "Of course, but girls like you often seek comfort where they can. Isn't that right?" Ethan chuckled under his breath. Richard glanced up briefly, frowning, but said nothing. Emily's cheeks burned. She wanted to scream that she wasn't some desperate gold digger, but she stayed silent for Sophia's sake. Sophia, however, slammed her hand against the table. "Enough, mother. Stop talking to her like that." The room fell silent. Servants froze. Ethan's smirk vanished. Victoria's smile returned, thin as a blade. "Darling, I'm only protecting you. Can't you see? This girl doesn't belong here." But Sophia turned to Emily and whispered fiercely, "Don't listen. You belong with me." Later that night, Emily sat alone in the guest room, pulling the photograph from her pocket again. She traced her mother's face with her fingertip. Her mother had carried a secret to the grave. "Why didn't you tell me?" Emily whispered into the dark. "Why didn't you tell me I had a sister?" Tears blurred her vision, but she wiped them quickly. If her mother couldn't protect Sophia back, then Emily would now. She swore it to herself. Victoria would never take Sophia's spirit, no matter how hard she tried. The days that followed only proved how much power Victoria held inside the mansion. She directed the staff with icy precision, always smiling sweetly when Richard was near, but spitting venom once he left. One afternoon, Emily overheard her scolding a maid. "You think Sophia deserves freedom? She's blind, helpless. Without me, she'd be nothing. Do you understand?" "Nothing." The maid nodded nervously, retreating as Victoria turned. She stopped when she saw Emily, standing in the hall. For a moment, their eyes locked. Victoria's smile sharpened. "Careful where you wander, Emily," she purred. "Some doors are better left closed." Emily said nothing, but her hand brushed the photograph hidden in her pocket. Victoria could smile all she wanted. Emily now had a reason to fight, but Victoria wasn't her only problem. Ethan lurked around every corner, pretending to be friendly when Sophia was near, but whispering poison when she wasn't. One evening, Emily overheard him speaking with Richard in the study. "Father, you need to be careful. That girl, Emily, she's not what she seems. She clings to Sophia, but she's after something. Money, maybe, or your pity. Can't you see it?" Richard's voice was weary. "She's just a child, Ethan. Don't be so cruel." "A child?" Ethan scoffed. "She's a beggar, a nobody, and Sophia's too blind to see it." Literally. Emily's hands curled into fists. Rage surged through her veins, but she forced herself to walk away. Quietly. She couldn't fight Ethan yet. Not without proof. The proof lay in the photograph. But it wasn't enough. Emily needed more. She began sneaking into unused rooms, searching through old boxes and drawers. She pieced together scraps of the past, letters half-burned, portraits cut from their frames, documents with names scratched out. It became clear. Victoria had erased someone from this house. Her mother. And Emily's presence threatened to bring that truth back to light. One evening, as Emily sat with Sophia by the fireplace, reading aloud, Sophia reached over and touched her hand. "You've changed everything for me, Emily," she said softly. "Before you came, I felt like I was drowning in this place. But now, I feel like I can breathe." Emily swallowed hard, squeezing her sister's hand. "You'll never drown again, Sophia. Not while I'm here." She meant every word. But deep inside, she knew the war was only beginning. Victoria would never allow the truth to surface. And if Emily wasn't careful, she would be erased all over again, just like her mother. The mansion felt colder in the days that followed Emily's discovery. She carried the photograph everywhere, hidden close to her heart. But fear kept her from telling Sophia the truth. Not yet. She needed the right moment. But Victoria sensed the closeness between the two girls growing stronger, and it infuriated her. She knew she had to tear them apart. Permanently. One evening, Victoria stood in the parlor with Ethan, her voice sharp as broken glass. "She trusts Emily too much," she hissed. "It's dangerous. Richard is softening, Sophia is gaining confidence, and all because of that little street girl." Ethan smirked. "Then let me handle it." I'll make Sophia believe Emily's been lying to her all along. Victoria's eyes narrowed. Do it, but make it cruel. I want Sophia to turn on her with her own lips. That will break Emily more than anything. The next day, the trap began. Emily was carrying books from the library when Ethan accidentally bumped into her, causing the books to scatter. Watch it, Emily muttered, bending to pick them up, but Ethan held one of the books up high and waved it mockingly. Inside, he had slipped a folded bill of cash. Well, well, he said loudly, just as Sophia entered the hall. What's this? Stealing from the house. Now, Emily? Emily froze. What? No, that's not mine. Sophia frowned, her clouded eyes turning toward Emily. Emily? He's lying, Emily cried. Sophia, I swear, I never touched it. But Ethan stepped closer, his tone calm and convincing. Don't act innocent. I caught you red-handed. You're taking advantage of Sophia's kindness. Sophia's lips parted, uncertainty clouding her face. Emily, why would he say that if it wasn't true? Emily's heart cracked. Because he hates me. He wants you to turn against me. Please, Sophia, you have to believe me. But doubt had been planted. That night, Ethan wasn't done. He slipped into Richard's study and rearranged papers to look as though Emily had been snooping. He told the staff Emily had been asking questions about money. By the time whispers reached Victoria's ears, the story was ready. Emily was a thief, a schemer, a girl desperate to climb into wealth. The next morning, Sophia confronted her. They were sitting in the garden when Sophia's voice, usually so gentle, cut like a blade. Emily, tell me the truth. Have you been lying to me? Emily's breath caught. What? No, I've never lied to you. Sophia's face tightened. Ethan says you've been stealing. Victoria says you only stayed because of money. Even father heard rumors. And now, I don't know what to believe. Emily grabbed her hands desperately. Listen to me, Sophia. Please. I've been nothing but honest with you. You're the first person who's ever made me feel like I belong. I would never betray you. But Sophia pulled away, her eyes wet with tears. Then why does everything point to you? Are there always secrets? Emily's chest burned with the weight of the hidden photograph. She wanted to scream the truth, to say I'm your sister, Sophia, but she couldn't. Not now, not like this. Because they're lying, Emily said firmly. Because they want to keep us apart. Sophia shook her head. I don't know anymore, Emily. I don't know who to trust. That evening, Victoria made her final move. She staged a scene in the dining room, placing a jeweled necklace beneath Emily's pillow. When the servants found it, she gasped in false shock. Oh dear, what a shame, she murmured sweetly. It seems Emily has been hiding things that don't belong to her. Richard's jaw clenched, but he said nothing. Ethan stood smugly in the corner. Sophia, trembling, turned to Emily. Tell me this isn't true. Emily's voice cracked. It's not. They planted it, Sophia. I swear. But Sophia's tears spilled over. Stop lying, she shouted for the first time. You used me, Emily. You used my blindness, my trust, everything. Get out. Leave this house. Emily staggered back as though struck. Sophia. Her voice broke. Please. You can't believe them over me. But Sophia turned her face away. I don't want to hear your voice anymore. Go. The servants dragged Emily toward the door. She fought them, her eyes never leaving Sophia's. I saved you, she cried desperately. I found you in the street. I brought you home. You're my. She stopped herself, choking on the secret she couldn't reveal. Sophia's hands trembled, covering her ears. Just leave. And with that, the gates slammed shut behind Emily. She stood outside, humiliated, her heart shattering into pieces. The mansion loomed above her, the place where she had finally found hope now gone. Emily wandered the streets that night, her stomach empty, her spirit crushed. They were right, she whispered bitterly. I'm nothing. Nothing but a poor girl the world forgot. She sank onto the curb, hugging herself against the cold. For the first time, she wanted to give up. Completely. But destiny wasn't finished with her. An old, familiar voice called softly. Emily? She looked up. Standing in the shadows was Grace, the elderly maid who had always shown her small kindness in the mansion. Emily wiped her eyes quickly. Grace? Why are you here? The maid stepped closer, her voice trembling. Because there are things you need to know. Things Victoria never wanted you to hear. Emily blinked. What do you mean? Grace glanced around nervously, then leaned close. Your mother. She didn't leave because she wanted to. Victoria forced her out. She schemed against her, told Richard lies until he turned cold. Your mother had no choice but to run, and she took you with her. Emily's blood froze. What? Grace nodded, her eyes glistening. Victoria made sure Richard never knew you survived. She erased you, Emily, just like she erased your mother. And now she's trying to erase Sophia too. Emily's breath caught as the truth struck her like a storm. Her mother hadn't abandoned her. Victoria had stolen everything. And now Sophia, her sister, was in the same danger. Emily stared at the ground, her fists clenching. She had two choices. Disappear forever like Victoria wanted, or fight back. Her voice came out in a whisper, but it carried fire. No, not this time. I won't run. I'll fight. Inside the mansion, Victoria wasted no time after Emily's banishment. She stood behind Richard. In his study, her hand lightly on his shoulder, her voice dripping with concern. Richard, I worry for Sophia, she said softly. She's not well. You saw how easily she trusted. That girl. Her mind isn't stable. What if she does something reckless with your fortune? What if she ruins the company when you're gone? Richard rubbed his temples. She's fragile, yes, but she's still my daughter. Of course, Victoria soothed, her smile gentle. But love can blind us. You must think of the future. Ethan is strong, responsible, capable. Sophia needs to be cared for, not burdened with decisions she can't make. Ethan, lounging in a chair, added smoothly, Father, you know I'd protect her. Always. But the lawyers agree. Keeping Sophia in your will as primary heir could complicate things. Richard hesitated, his fingers tightening around his pen. Victoria slid a stack of papers in front of him. Just a small adjustment, she whispered. Transfer control to Ethan. Sophia will still be provided for, of course. But this way, everything is safe. Richard stared at the documents, his heart torn. For a long moment, the room was silent except for the ticking of the grandfather clock. Finally, he sighed. I'll think about it. Victoria's smile widened, though her eyes glinted with cold victory. That's all I ask, darling. Meanwhile, Emily sat with Grace in a dimly lit church near the edge of town, the old woman's lantern flickering against the stone walls. Grace clasped Emily's hands tightly. You can't give up, child. Sophia needs you now more than ever. Victoria plans to cut her out completely. Emily's voice was hollow. She doesn't want me. She told me to leave. She thinks I betrayed her. Grace shook her head fiercely. Because Victoria made her believe it. Just like she fooled Richard years ago. You can't let history repeat itself. Emily's throat burned as she whispered. She hates me now. I saw it in her face. No, Grace said firmly. Sophia is hurt, confused. But deep down, she loves you. Haven't you felt it? That bond? She doesn't even understand it herself. But she feels it. You must hold on to that. Emily pulled the photograph from her pocket and laid it in Grace's hands. I found this. It's me and Sophia. Together. My mother kept us both once. We were supposed to grow up side by side. Grace's eyes softened. That's why you two were drawn to each other. Blood recognizes blood. Nothing Victoria does can change that. Emily wiped her tears roughly, her voice shaking. Then what do I do? She has all the power. The Servants, the lawyers, even Richard listens to her. I'm just me. Grace leaned closer. Then you fight with what she doesn't have, truth. Sooner or later, truth shines brighter than lies. But you must be brave enough to face the storm. That night, Emily wandered the streets alone, Grace's words echoing in her mind. Every step felt heavy, her body weak with hunger and exhaustion, her spirit bruised from betrayal. She passed by windows where families sat laughing around dinner tables, warm lights spilling out. Into the night, she thought of Sophia, sitting in that cold mansion, believing she had been abandoned all over again. Emily sank onto the curb, hugging her knees. I should just disappear, she muttered. It would be easier. No more pain. No more fighting. But then she remembered Sophia's trembling voice when she had once said, "You make me feel safe." Emily's fists tightened. If I disappear, she'll have no one, she whispered fiercely. Victoria will destroy her. And my mother's sacrifice, it'll mean nothing. Her eyes hardened through the tears. No, I won't vanish. Not again. This time, I'll fight. Back at the mansion, Victoria stood by Sophia's bedside, stroking her hair with false tenderness. Darling, she cooed. I know you're hurting, but Emily was never your friend. She only wanted what we had. You see it now, don't you? Sophia turned away, her eyes glistening with tears. I don't want to talk about her. Victoria's smile widened. Good. Forget her. Focus on your real family. That's all that matters. But as Sophia lay in the dark later that night, Emily's voice haunted her thoughts. Don't believe her, Sophia. You're worth more than her lies. Sophia pressed her hands to her chest, torn between anger and something she couldn't explain, a hollow ache that Emily's absence had carved inside her. The Walker mansion glowed with golden lights that spilled out onto the long driveway. Chauffeurs lined the entrance, servants rushed to and fro, and laughter echoed from the grand hall. Inside, a family gathering was underway, but it wasn't a celebration. It was business. The table was covered in documents, pens, and glasses of wine. Richard Walker, weary but still dignified, sat at the head of the table. Beside him, Victoria wore her most dazzling smile, her hand draped lightly on his arm. Ethan lounged confidently near the center, his eyes gleaming with triumph. Sophia sat quietly at the end, her hands folded in her lap, her expression unreadable. Victoria's voice was smooth and sweet. Richard, darling, everything is prepared. All you need to do is sign. Ethan will take responsibility for the estate, and Sophia will remain cared for, protected. Richard hesitated, tapping the pen against the paper. I still feel uneasy about cutting Sophia out of the will entirely. She's my daughter. Of course, Victoria soothed. But you know how fragile she is. It's only for her own good. Ethan leaned forward. Father, it's the best decision for the family. For the company. Trust me. Sophia's lips pressed tightly together. She wanted to speak, but the words caught in her throat. Then suddenly, the heavy doors of the hall burst open. Every head turned. Emily stood there, rain-soaked, her eyes blazing with fury and fire. Gasps filled the room. Victoria's smile faltered. You! Emily stepped inside, her voice ringing across the hall. Yes, me. The girl you threw out like trash. The girl you tried to erase. I'm back. For a moment silence stretched. The guests shifted uncomfortably, sensing the storm about to break. Ethan sneered. You've got some nerve showing your face here. Leave before you lie again? Emily cut him off, her voice steady. Before you frame me for something I never did? That won't work this time, Ethan. Not tonight. Victoria rose to her feet, her mask cracking. You dare to interrupt this family's business? You have no place here, Emily. You never did. Emily's jaw tightened. That's where you're wrong. This is my place. More than it's ever been. Yours. Whispers rippled through the room. Richard's eyes narrowed. Explain yourself. Emily stepped forward boldly. You all want to know the truth? Fine. Here it is. She pulled a bundle of old letters, photographs, and documents from her bag. Grace, standing quietly at the door, had given them to her before she returned. This is proof of who I really am. Proof of what Victoria has been hiding for years. She spread the items on the table. A faded family portrait. Richard, a younger version of him, holding his wife. In her arms were two little girls, Emily and Sophia. Gasps filled the room again. Richard's face went pale. His hand trembled as he picked up the photograph. This can't be. Emily's voice was sharp, trembling with both rage and sorrow. But it is. I'm your daughter, Richard, Sophia's full sister. My mother didn't abandon you. She was forced out. Victoria drove her away and made sure you never knew I survived. Sophia's breath caught. Emily. Emily turned to her, her eyes wet but fierce. That's why you felt it, Sophia. That strange bond between us. Because we were never strangers. We were sisters, torn apart by lies. Sophia covered her mouth, tears spilling over. Oh God! All this time, Victoria slammed her hand on the table. Lies. All of it. That woman was weak. She left Richard because she couldn't handle this life. And this girl, she pointed at Emily, her voice shaking with fury, is nothing but an opportunist who found her way back here with fabricated stories. But Grace stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. No, madam. I was there. I saw it. You spread those lies. You twisted Richard's heart until his wife had no choice but to leave. And when she left with Emily, you made sure Richard believed she had vanished. You erased them. Gasps filled the hall again. Richard's eyes burned with anguish as he looked at Victoria. Is it true? Victoria's face hardened, but she said nothing. Richard's voice cracked like thunder. Is it true? Her silence was louder than confession. Sophia stood shakily, reaching her hand toward Emily. Her voice was trembling. You're my sister? All this time, I thought you betrayed me. But you were my blood. My own sister. Emily rushed to her, falling to her knees and clutching Sophia's hands. I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner. I wanted to protect you, but I failed. I let them come between us. Sophia pulled her close, her tears soaking Emily's shoulder. No, I failed you. I believed their lies. I hurt you. Can you forgive me? Emily's arms tightened around her. There's nothing to forgive. We have each other now. That's all that matters. The room erupted in murmurs, the family gathering now in uproar. Richard's hand shook as he set the photograph down, his eyes brimming with regret. My God, he whispered. All these years, I thought I lost you, and it was my fault. I let Victoria poison my heart. I let her convince me your mother abandoned me. And I never searched for you. Emily turned to him, her voice raw. She suffered, Richard. My mother carried that pain until her last breath. She died 2 years ago. She never stopped loving you. She never stopped loving Sophia. Or me. Richard staggered back as though struck, his face crumbling. Dead? No, no. His voice broke, and for the first time the billionaire's mask of power cracked into tears. Ethan, desperate, slammed his fist on the table. This changes nothing. You think anyone will believe her? She's nothing but a beggar with a few old photos. But Emily's voice rose above his. You want to talk about nothing, Ethan? Let's talk about what really blinds people. Greed, lies, power. You and your mother thought you could erase the truth because you had money. But money can't buy loyalty, can't buy family, and it can't hide the truth forever. Her eyes swept across the room. I came here with nothing but honesty. You framed me, humiliated me, threw me onto the streets. And still I'm standing here, because real strength doesn't come from gold or mansions. It comes from love, loyalty, and truth. The hall fell silent. Even the servants, standing quietly in the corners, stared at her with wide eyes. Richard rose slowly to his feet. His voice was firm again, cutting through the silence. Victoria, Ethan, you've shamed this family long enough. I strip you both of all power in this household. You'll have no say in this estate, no claim to this company. From this day forward, Sophia and Emily, both my daughters, will inherit equally. Victoria's face twisted with rage. You can't do this. After everything I gave you. You gave me nothing but lies, Richard thundered. Get out of my sight. Ethan sputtered, his face red with fury. This isn't over. But no one listened. Guards moved toward them, and for the first time Victoria and Ethan were powerless. Richard turned to Emily and Sophia. His eyes softened, breaking with both regret and relief. I can't undo the past, he whispered, but I can start making it right. Forgive me, Emily. Forgive me for failing you, for failing your mother. Emily's tears spilled over, but she nodded. I forgive you, for Sophia's sake, for my mother's memory. Sophia squeezed her sister's hand, smiling through her tears. We're together now. That's what matters. The three embraced. A broken family, slowly piecing itself together under the weight of truth. That night, as the mansion quieted, Emily stood on the balcony with Sophia by her side. The stars shone bright, the air fresh with possibility. Sophia whispered, I was blind, Emily, not just in my eyes, but in my heart. I believed lies, because it was easier than facing the truth. Emily shook her head gently. We all were blinded, even Father, but we see now, and that's what matters. She turned toward the sky, her voice steady and strong. Greed blinds more than darkness ever could. True wealth isn't in these walls or in money or in power. It's in compassion, loyalty, and truth. That's the only inheritance worth keeping. Sophia rested her head on Emily's shoulder, and for the first time in years, the Walker mansion felt alive with something money could never buy: real family.